of your life you thought were safe. That morning, my driveway looked like a war zone. There it was, the body of a white oak, split in two, roots torn up, bleeding earth like something out of a bad dream, and underneath, a government-issued Dodge Charger, just pancaked, windows shattered all over the gravel like ice. And there she was, Karen, standing there, shaking in her pastel tracksuit. Sawdust in her hair, a whole chainsaw crew behind her, frozen mid-step, like even they realized they'd gone too far. And right then, watching her try to explain the unexplainable, well, it hit me. Outside any HOA's greedy little reach. I built my home from the ground up, board by board, with my own hands. 2 years of sweat, silence, and that sweet, sticky smell of pine sap. The HOA was across. And at the very top, like some self-appointed queen, was Karen Janelle, mid-50s, silver helmet hair, lipstick like wet chalk, always on about community standards. She ran that place like she'd. I told her I didn't have a sidewalk. She gave me this tight-lipped smile. You know the kind, polite, but sharp enough to cut glass. Maybe one day you'll want to be part of something bigger than yourself, she said. I didn't bother answering. I already knew. My something bigger was the patch of woods I called home, and that was enough. Then came the first shot, an email from a neighbor who secretly hated the HOA even more than I did. Subject line, meeting agenda. Something about a visual obstruction on adjoining property. Guess whose name was on that? So I went, not because I was worried, mostly just curious. The clubhouse smelled like burnt coffee and self-importance. Karen was front and center, clicking through her PowerPoint. Visual obstruction, tree on Mr. McCready's property. Up on the projector, there's my oak, 70 feet of stubborn history, shading the edge of the lake. Residents have expressed concern, Karen said, that this particular tree breaks the harmony of our shoreline. It diminishes property values, impairs our community's aesthetic. I leaned against the wall, arms crossed, trying not to laugh. That tree, I said, is a registered heritage oak on private land. My land. She blinked, a slow, offended blink like reality had personally let her down. Just because something's old doesn't make it valuable. She shot back. I grinned. It's not blocking your view, Karen. It's blocking your kitchen window. There's a difference. Somebody snorted in the back. Karen didn't crack a smile. Her voice got even sharper. Well, we'll see what the board decides. I shrugged. No, you won't. This isn't up to the board. That was the last time I saw her pretend to be polite. The next few nights were too quiet. Even the frogs seemed to know something was coming. Then, right at dawn, came that awful sound. The chainsaw, then this gut-deep crack, then the kind of metal-on-metal shriek that makes your teeth hurt. I ran out, half-dressed, boots unlaced, and just stopped dead. My oak was down, ripped out like it was nothing, trunk sprawled across my driveway, right on top of a Dodge Charger. Still smoking. And there's Karen, phone in hand, both hands shaking. 2 men in HOA polos stood nearby, one of them still holding the saw. What the hell did you do? I yelled, maybe a little sharper. Then I meant. Karen looked everywhere, but at me. It was supposed to fall the other way, she stammered. You cut it down? To fix the view? I pressed. Before she could answer, my front door creaked. Open and out walks Trace Harper, coffee in hand, still half asleep. Federal inspector, friend, and, as luck would have it, owner of the now flattened Charger. Trace looked at the car, looked at her, then pulled out his badge, slow and calm. Ma'am, you just destroyed a federal vehicle while trespassing on private property. I suggest you stop talking. The color drained right out of her face. The HOA men froze solid. You got cameras? Trace asked me, barely looking away from her. Always, I said. And I did. 5 of them. In fact, one hidden right in the birdhouse, pointed at the tree. When the deputies rolled up, I showed them the footage, grainy, early dawn, but clear as day. There's Karen, standing on my property, flashlight out, pointing at my oak. You can hear her whisper, it'll fall over his driveway. He'll think it was the wind. The deputy watched it, looked at her, then back at the screen. Ma'am, you got anything to say for yourself? She whispered. It's just a tree. Trace barked out this low, dangerous laugh. Lady, you just committed 3 crimes before breakfast. That should have been the end. But Karen? She's not the type to quit when She's wrong. She digs in deeper. 2 days later, the zoning office called me, asking if I'd signed a shared maintenance agreement with Lake Pine Trails. I hadn't, of course. Turned out Karen had. Submitted a revised parcel map, fake as a $3 bill, showing my oak inside their community green zone, complete with a forged surveyor's signature. Lucky for me, I knew the real surveyor. Mark Johnson. He sent me an affidavit swearing that map was a lie before lunch. My lawyer, Linda Shaw, moved faster than a squirrel on espresso, filed civil and environmental suits before sundown. That night, one of the Lake Pine residents messaged me, "Join the HOA Zoom tomorrow. You'll want to see this." So I did. Karen was front and center, hair perfect, voice all syrup. "This has been an unfortunate misunderstanding," she said. "Our intention was purely aesthetic. We had maps indicating shared jurisdiction." I hit unmute. "Funny," I said, "I've got those maps too." And I shared my screen. First slide, the real county map. Second slide, her fake one. Third slide, the birdhouse cam. Karen whispering, "Cut it fast. He won't know it was us." Then I hit play. The sound of the chainsaw tore through that meeting. Silence, then chaos. Board members shouting. Someone asked if they'd be personally sued. Another just yelling, "You lied to us." Karen tried to speak, but the noise ate her alive. I just sat back and watched her little empire crumble, one pixel at a time. Next morning, I started getting letters, apologies, confessions, even a copy of the HOA. Trace's agency filed charges for destruction of government property and obstruction. DOJ opened an inquiry. I wasn't shocked. I've seen wildfires move slower than this investigation. Linda, my lawyer, was a force of nature. Trespass, forgery, falsified documents, abuse of authority. She stacked it all like kindling. Meanwhile, 2 board members came forward, said Karen had bullied them. For years, charged improvement fees to buy patio furniture, fined folks for lawn ornaments, rewrote rules whenever it suited her. One even had a recording, Karen screaming bloody murder about a. Seen her, navy blazer, no lipstick, hands clenched tight. The judge, older woman, eyes sharp as needles, got right to it. There was a tree. Now there isn't. Someone explain why. Linda took it from there, calm, methodical, laid out everything. The property line, the heritage certificate, the footage, the forgery, every step. The clincher? Karen's own voice on tape. "Do it before sunrise." You could feel the room shift the second everyone realized it was over. The defense tried to spin it, said it was a misunderstanding, that the tree was a hazard, that Karen was just trying to help. The judge didn't buy a word of it. "You trespassed, Mrs. Janelle. You ordered the destruction of property that wasn't yours. Fabricated documents to justify it. Lied to law enforcement." The gavel came down, full injunctive relief to me. Damages of $130,000 split between Karen and the HOA. The criminal case got kicked to the next court. Karen's shoulders just folded in. Her lawyer stared at the table. And for a minute, nobody said a thing. That silence. That's what victory sounds like when you've already said all you needed to. By week's end, the HOA board fired her. No ceremony, no cake, just a PDF titled Termination under Clause 6.2. Local news ran the story. HOA president faces felony charges after tree debacle. Neighbors left letters on my gate. "Thanks for standing up." I didn't celebrate. I've seen power rot folks from the inside out. Karen wasn't special, just the loudest symptom of a sickness that happens when rules matter more than respect. A month later, I planted a new sapling where the old oak had been. White oak again, roots in burlap, branches skinny but stubborn. No ceremony, just me, working quiet, packing the dirt, feeling the wind move through the gap the old tree left behind. When I was done, I hung a wooden sign on the fence, etched deep, so no one would miss it. Private property. Trees bite back. Trace stopped by that afternoon. Looked at the sign, smirked. "Subtle," he said. I shrugged. "Earned." He nodded toward the sapling. "You think it'll last?" I looked at it, little but fierce. Against the whole horizon. If it learns to stand through storms like the last one, yeah, it'll outlive us all. We just sat there a while, quiet as could be, wind moving through the branches. Faint but steady, and somewhere in that sound, I swear I heard the last echo of that chainsaw finally disappear. Karen moved away after that, sold her house, vanished downstate, no forwarding. Address. The new HOA president, Rita, sent me a handwritten note, said she'd run things honest from now on. I pinned it to the fridge under a magnet shaped like an owl. Now and then, hikers stop and ask about the scarred patch of land and the little tree. I just sip my coffee and smile. Nature's got its own way of making things right. Sometimes, you just gotta let it work. And when I turned back to my house, the one I built with my own hands, woods breathing easy around me, no pastel suits, no fake authority, I remember, real power isn't about control. It's about knowing when to stand your ground, let the truth speak for itself, and weather the storm without flinching. That's how we fight out here, not loud, but steady and sure as the roots beneath our feet. Now, tell me, what do you think? Was justice served? Or is this just another battle in a bigger war between folks who want peace and folks who want power? Drop your thoughts down below. I want to hear how you'd handle it if your home was on the line. And if you've ever tangled with an HOA or fought for your patch of earth, share your story, because out here, that's how legends grow.